No rest for Davenport police with 2 more shooting incidents over the weekend. Plus,
so I'm a little surprised, but, it's a poll.
A big shakeup in the polls. The latest Republican candidate making their way to the top. That's coming up.
WHBF is local for you. This is Local 4 News this morning.
Good morning and thanks for watching Local 4 News this morning. I'm Emily Scarlett. Chris has the week off. First, a busy weekend in Davenport as police respond to 2 different shooting incidents, adding to the growing rash of crime the city is recently seeing. Local 4's Krista Burris has more on this weekend's events.
No injuries this weekend, but some homes were hit by gunfire in 2 separate shootings in Davenport. Officers were on scene in the 600 block of Division Street just before 4 o'clock Sunday night. Police say at least 1 house was hit when a bullet went through the living room window. The shooting is still under investigation and no arrests have been made. Saturday night, Davenport police say they were called for shots fired around 8 p.m. near Sylvan Avenue and East 6th Street. Police say no one was hurt, but a few bullets did hit a nearby home. That incident is also under investigation. These shootings add to the nearly 130 shots fired incidents in the city this year. Krista Burris, Local 4 News.
Thank you, Krista. And on top of this weekend shootings, Davenport police responding to reports of a burglary this weekend as well. Police say the QC Mart in the 3900 block of North Brady Street was robbed at gunpoint just before 11 o'clock Saturday night. They say a man had a gun sticking out of his pocket when he demanded money from the convenience store clerk. He then ran northeast with the cash. Police do not know how much money he took. They're looking for a black male in his 20s wearing a dark hoodie and gloves. Please contact police if you have any information. And Bettendorf police say some neighborhoods were vandalized this weekend. The first call came in just after 1 Sunday morning for complaints of rocks thrown at cars near the Devil's Glen Park entrance. Residents also say vandals damaged cars in the Deerbrook Addition neighborhood. Witnesses say tires were punctured, a windshield was broken, and mailboxes were hit, and say they saw 6 to 7 white males that may have been causing that damage. Vandalism was also reported on Devil's Glen Road, where people say a mailbox was thrown at a car. No suspects have been found, but Bettendorf police are investigating and believe the incidents are connected. If you have any information, you're asked to call them at the number on your screen. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker working the campaign trail in eastern Iowa over the weekend. This coming after his collapse in the latest CNN poll, putting him at less than half of 1% support. One of his stops over the weekend was at the Vinton Pizza Ranch. He spoke to the crowd about defunding Planned Parenthood, standing by Israel, and enforcing a stronger military. Walker also says he disagrees with Dr. Ben Carson's latest statement on excluding Muslims from the presidency.
The bottom line is the American people should make the judgment based on people's experience and their qualifications. I hope people look at that more than anything. They say, are you qualified to be president, and do you have the experience, and we actually have good ideas?
Walker also addressing the latest poll numbers. He says this means he's only going to work harder in Iowa at the grassroots level. And that new CNN poll is revealing a bit of a shakeup in the race to become the Republican presidential nominee. In the wake of Wednesday night's debate, some contenders are on the rise while others are losing supporters. Jeremy Roth has reaction from the candidates.
Carly Fiorina has rocketed into second place in the Republican presidential field on the heels of another strong debate. That's according to a new CNN ORC poll. 52% of Republicans declared her the winner. She gained points for her strong stance on issues like defunding Planned Parenthood.
This is about the character of our nation. And if we will not stand up and force President Obama to veto this bill, shame on us.
The top 3 continues to be made up of political outsiders. Both Donald Trump and Dr. Ben Carson, however, are down in the polls following Wednesday night's matchup.
I'm in first place in every poll, but gained substantially in a couple of them. So I'm a little surprised, but, it's a poll. The only poll that matters is the big one. You know that one. That's going to be the election.
Carson has been criticized for his quiet presence on the debate stage.
Listen to what I actually say when I have an opportunity to say it in something other than a 1-minute soundbite. That's a format that, I have to grow accustomed to. That's not the world that I've lived in.
One established politician is on the rise. Marco Rubio is now in 4th place, up from 7th. He says the outsider dominance is all about the disconnect between politicians and the people.
People feel like political leaders in both political parties are completely out of touch with their lives. And you saw some of it reflected in debate the other day. I don't think it's limited to the politicians, it's also the media.
I'm Jeremy Roth, reporting.
The GOP candidates will face off again October 28th in Colorado for a debate hosted by CNBC. The Democrats, meanwhile, will debate for the first time on October 13th. Pope Francis continues his historic trip of Cuba with visits to 2 more cities today, this ahead of his visit to the U.S. this week. During his first full day in the communist country Sunday, the Pope celebrated Mass in Havana's Revolution Square, met with both Fidel and Raul Castro, and gave a special address to the youth. Pope Francis arrives in Washington, D.C. Tuesday, his first trip ever to the U.S. And in national news, firefighters in Northern California are trying to tackle yet another raging wildfire. The fire, which erupted in Monterey County Saturday afternoon, has already damaged or destroyed several homes. More than a dozen fires are currently burning across the drought-stricken state. Current and future community leaders are coming together this morning in Bettendorf to break ground on a $4.5 million YMCA expansion. Phase 1 of the project includes a giant children's play structure, along with the state-of-the-art 11,000 square foot cross-training center. This part of the project is expected to be complete in November, and Phase 2 of the project involves 2 full-size basketball courts with an extended indoor track. That's scheduled to be complete by the summer of 2016. Today's groundbreaking ceremony begins at 10 this morning at the Bettendorf YMCA on Tanglefoot Lane. And checking in with meteorologist Anthony Peoples on this Monday morning. Anthony, how are things looking outside?
Emily, things are looking rather nice on this Monday morning, the last Monday of summer.
Yeah, that's right. I know you mentioned earlier that in a couple of days, by the time we get in and folks wake up to us in the morning, it'll be the fall season.
That's right. So get out and enjoy this last Monday of summer, and tomorrow will be the last Tuesday of summer because fall is on the way. But if we look at our temperatures out there right now, some of you may think that it feels like fall. 47 degrees in the Quad Cities right now, dew point down at 44. That's in Moline. It's 50 degrees, the current temperature in Davenport. They have more of an east-southeast wind at 7 miles per hour. We did have a few clouds across our northern hometowns early this morning, but as we go through the morning, mostly sunny skies as kids head off to school. Temperatures around 50 degrees, up to 78 this afternoon, a little bit warmer than yesterday. And with that recent warmth that we had before the cool down, temperatures for the month of September are still running more than 5 degrees above average. So it's been a very warm September. Let's hope that trend continues. I wouldn't mind for that trend to continue into October.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind at all. I mean, you hear about the summer season coming to an end. For some folks, that's a little depressing, a little sad, but you look at the temperature for today and so far still looking good.
Yeah, you know, we will show you the 7 and 10 day coming up, and temperatures look rather nice. So it takes us into probably, or at least close to, the month of October, and looking pretty good.
All right, I like what I'm seeing, Anthony. Coming up, more on the Pontiff's visit to Cuba, his role in mending Cuban and U.S. relations, and his very first trip to America. That's after the break.
Stay with us. The time now is 6:09. You're watching Local 4 News this morning.
WHBF is local for you with Chris Langlois, Emily Scarlett, and meteorologist Anthony Peoples. This is Local 4 News this morning in high definition.